Energy is more than being fit. It's the fuel for our life. Without energy, nothing works. But with energy, everything becomes possible. In this video, you learn 6 powerful practices that help you generate energy from within, from a grounded, sustainable place. Why does this topic matter to me? I was a few years ago working in a high-pressure, fast-paced environment and was affected by a layoff in the context of a restructuring program. During that time, I discovered these practices. They helped me to safely navigate the storm and get in shape. Today, this is my work. I help people turn challenge into growth. So, let's start. Let me give you some context first. This video is part of a series of 6 videos about the so-called high-performance habits. These are the habits with the highest long-term impact in terms of success, well-being, as well as relations. This video here is about how to generate energy from within. If you are interested in this overview, there is a link in the description. You can access it there. So, let's dive in. The first practice is the practice of mindfulness, respectively the power of being fully present. The problem of our societies today is that many of us overconsume information. How can we stop that and refresh ourselves? The solution is simple: by returning home to our body, by focusing on our breathing. As we breathe in, we mentally tell ourselves in. As we breathe out, we tell ourselves the word out mentally, and we repeat that 3-4 times. It's like a personal checkpoint for a situation assessment. The purpose is to switch on the awareness from unconscious to conscious, like a light bulb. And the only goal of this awareness is to be aware of the current situation. We get aware about our feelings. We get aware about our mental state, about the people around us. It's important that as we get aware that we don't judge, so that we just notice what is happening. The benefit is that we can take better care for ourselves as well as for the people around us, and that we can navigate in a safer way. Well, you might ask yourself, how should we remember that in our busy lives? It's actually quite simple. We can work with triggers, such as, for example, a red traffic light. We can tell ourselves, okay, as soon as I see a red traffic light, this is the invitation for me to return back to my body. If you ask yourself, how does that really work with this breathing technique? I had a video of this Zen master so that you directly learn it from one of the best in the world in the area of mindfulness. The second practice is to recharge hourly and to master transitions. The problem is that many of us rush from one activity to the next, to the next, to the next, without a break, which drains our energy. And the solution, quite obviously, are hourly breaks as well as conscious transitions. It helps us maintain a higher energy level all day long. Let's talk about recharging first. It's very simple. It is recommended that we do breaks every approximately 50 minutes. That we get up, that we stretch, that we move, and drink some water. These pauses alone, if we do them well, are very refreshing, especially if we repeat that hour by hour. It maintains our productivity at a much higher level. And maybe you ask yourself, what is meant with transitions? Everyone has transitions throughout the day. A transition could be, for example, from email management to switching to prepare a presentation. Another transition could be, for example, if you arrive home in the evening after the day. Well, how does that work to master transition? It's very simple. We release tension during a minute or two, and we set intention for the next activity ahead. And for releasing the tension, we could apply the same technique as just explained before. We return to our breathing. We are aware of our breathing, and as we breathe out 4, 5, 6 times, we simply repeat the word release, release, and we let go of the tension that might be there in the moment. As an example, If I switch from email management to preparing a presentation, I first close my eyes for a minute or two and I release the tension. And then I set my intention, such as, for example, I want to feel relaxed as I prepare this presentation. And I want the audience to be really inspired. That's an example of setting intention. Another example could be when you arrive at home. Before entering the door, you might wait a minute in the car or in the bus, release tension, and set your intention for arriving at home. How do you want to be? I could imagine, for example, for myself, that I tell myself, I want to feel grounded, and I want to care for my loved ones instead of bringing the stress home. This is very unspectacular, but it works, and it has a high impact on the energy. Me personally, I'm not perfect. I'm also still learning. Especially these hourly breaks. I have the tendency to work longer if I'm very focused on something, but it drains my energy. And I can clearly see that if I do these pauses, my productivity level is much higher. The next practice is to maintain the engine. It fuels the joy of life and it increases our ability to perform. The world's top 15% of the high performers, they exercise at least 4 times a week. If we exercise, of course it is important that it is personalized based on your individual situation. It always makes sense to see the doctor or to have a personal trainer. But in essence, it's about 3 areas. It's about our mobility, it's about our strength, as well as the endurance. From a mobility perspective, it is recommended that we move daily at least 30 minutes. It would be ideal if we could integrate 10 minutes of stretching or yoga in a morning routine, as an example. The second part is strength. We should train our muscles, and it is recommended that we do that at least 2 times a week or more. The third part is our endurance. Same there, at least 2 times a week or more. Me personally, I go to the gym 2 to 3 times a week, mostly 3 times, but it's not always possible. And I always train both. First strength, then endurance. But some people have different rhythms, do only strength one day, endurance another day. That's not wrong, absolutely not. It makes sense to have individual plans. I must confess, I have never been a big fan of a gym. But 2 years ago, I told to myself, to my 50th birthday, this is my gift. And since then, I'm very disciplined. Our health is our best investment. The next practice is nutrition. It's the source of liveliness and joy. What we eat directly affects how we feel. It can heal or drain us. The practice is to have a personalized nutrition plan. To see a nutritionist, to communicate your goals, I'd recommend also to do a food test, because many people are not aware of a food allergy, which can have a huge impact on our energy, and get a personalized plan. One rule of thumb that I personally love because it's so simple and you can apply it immediately is the one that you see here on the picture. If you want to make sure that you have a healthy way of eating, make sure that the plate in front of you is 50% filled with fruit or vegetables, 25% with proteins, and 25% with carbohydrates. This alone, this very simple advice, helped me maintain my weight. An additional bonus is fasting. You could, for example, try out every year 1 week of fasting. Or an alternative could be intermittent fasting. Individually can be a day per week or 2 days per week, or could be every day. Could be every day, as an example, a decision to eat before 6 p.m. in the evening and to have breakfast after 6 o'clock in the morning, so that you have a 12-hour break between the 2 meals. Fasting is incredibly healthy and it helps us to lose weight. The 5th practice is our sleep. If you want to be happier, more successful, and earn more, sleep is decisive. The results of 50 years of sleep research are crystal clear. 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night gives us a feeling of vibrancy and increases our productivity by 30%. Sleep is the foundation for our cognitive performance, for our physical health, as well as our emotional balance. What helps us to sleep better? Ideally, we don't watch any display 1 hour before sleep. We make sure that the room is cool. A temperature around 20 degrees Celsius, 68 degrees Fahrenheit is recommended. And if possible, we make sure that we have a technology-free environment, respectively no smartphone nearby. For me, this is also a learning curve. I must train myself to stay in bed for 7 to 8 hours, but this can be trained. I also decided to leave the smartphone outside of my bedroom. Pretty new, but I already now see that it has a positive impact on sleep. The result? More freshness in the morning. And of course, it would be ideal as a morning routine if we could begin the day with, for example, 10 minutes of stretching or maybe 10 minutes of meditation, respectively, whatever makes most sense to you. A morning routine is, however, super important for a positive day. And number 6, the practice of joy is maybe the most important one. According to the book, The 5 Biggest Regrets of the Dying from Bronnie, Ware, the biggest regrets are that they didn't allow themselves to be happy, that they haven't been courageous enough to express their true feelings to their inner circle, and that they didn't care for the relations. Joy isn't a luxury, it's absolutely essential. Well, what is the practice here? The practice is to schedule time for what you love. Be as strict in your planning as you would be for a business meeting. Plan things you love, whether it is spending time with the family or with friends or with a hobby. Me personally, I have a hobby, dancing, which gives me a tremendous amount of energy. It is so important that we cultivate the practice of joy and scheduling time for things that we love. Not only once a year, it should be every day. So when we do our planning, be it weekly, monthly or quarterly, let's make sure that we integrate time for things we love and that we schedule it as tough as we would do for business meetings. Real success isn't just money or status. Real success is to live a life that feels good to us, a joyful life. If you ask yourself how to fuel the fire within me to reach my goals, then I'd recommend this video here. And otherwise, I wish you awesome energy and look forward to see you again.